Everyone thinks the safest place at night is their home, but what if something is already outside, standing quietly in your backyard, watching you through the window? These are 3 scary true backyard horror stories that made people afraid to look outside after dark. And the last story is the one that still gives me chills. When I was 15, I used to stay up late playing games in my room. My window faced our backyard. It was small, just a fence, some grass, and an old shed. One night around 1:30 a.m., I noticed something strange, a light. A small white light moving slowly across the backyard. At first I thought it was my dad checking something outside. But then I realized. My parents were asleep. The light moved slowly toward the shed, then it suddenly turned off. The yard went completely dark again. I kept staring at the window for a few seconds, trying to see if someone was there, then suddenly, a face appeared right outside the glass, so close I almost screamed. A man was standing directly under my window. He was smiling. Just smiling and staring into my room. I ran to wake up my parents. But when we checked outside, the backyard was empty. The next morning, my dad found something near the shed. A flashlight. And written in the dirt with a finger were 3 words. I was here. My friend Alex lives in a house surrounded by trees. For weeks he kept hearing footsteps in his backyard late at night. Slow footsteps walking across the grass, back and forth, every night around 2 a.m. At first he thought it was an animal, until one night he looked outside and saw someone walking in circles in the yard, a tall figure wearing dark clothes, but the strange part was they never looked at the house, they just kept walking in circles, over and over. Alex grabbed his phone to record it. But the moment he pointed the camera at the window, the person suddenly stopped, slowly turned their head, and looked directly at him. Then they ran. Not toward the fence, not toward the street, but straight into the trees behind the house. The police searched the area later that night. But they found something disturbing. In the grass were perfect circles of footprints all over the yard, like someone had been walking there for hours. Last year, my cousin moved into a small house with a large backyard. Everything was normal for the first few weeks, until one night around 3 a.m. he heard a soft sound behind him. A small tap on the window. He thought it was just a branch. But then he heard it again. Tap, dot, tap, dot, tap. Slowly, he turned around and froze. Pressed against the glass was a hand. A human hand. The fingers were long and pale, slowly sliding across the window. My cousin rushed outside with a flashlight. But the yard was empty. No one there. No sound, nothing. But when he looked back at the window, he saw something that made him move out a month later. On the glass, there were 2 handprints, one at normal height and another one almost 8 feet above the ground. So tonight, before you look out your window, before you check your backyard after hearing a noise, ask yourself one question. What if something is already out there, waiting for you to look? If you enjoy true scary stories like these, make sure to subscribe for more horror stories every week, and remember, the scariest place at night might be your own backyard.